the rest of the participants to join. So I hope that you will join in between and let's start then. So I think I should start, isn't it? So am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good afternoon to all. And today I rather arrogantly intrude to deliver a kind of have an interaction with you. Ideally, I shouldn't, but I failed to stop my temptation because such a galaxy of resource persons, esteemed teachers, principals, and associated to various academic institutions across the country. So I don't want to lose a chance to have an interaction with you. So with these kind of things, I prefer to have a kind of a dialogue with you, at least in this particular session. So already, as in the introduction, little bit of introduction I gave, and then you had 2 lectures yesterday, Paul. Now today, what I try to do that, okay, we are introducing the NEP at various institutions, be it the central government or be it the state government, be it the private institutions, be it the technical institutes, or it's a UG college, postgraduate institute, research institute. So everywhere, all the institutions, they are actually trying to, in a catch-20 situation, rather I can say, because the policy has been introduced in 2020, and as I told that it is in a concurrent list, so different state governments have different takes on this particular NEP 2020, and since the education is in concurrent list, so therefore, once it has been being floated by the central government, respective state government, they do take cognizance and do certain kind of customization, take on objective view, and finally they also introduced. So for that matter, you find a certain time lag of implementation of NEP. But very precisely speaking, and that all of us, irrespective of the institutions, irrespective of the time limit, already they are into this NEP 2020, all of us, we are in a very nascent stage, very early stage. So therefore, what we are precisely trying to do, certain guidelines, NEP 2020, which have been provided, certain parameters we have taken and we try to introduce, and mostly we are working with the subject combinations. In the subject combinations, the major triggering force is that to introduce free entry and exit that is there, that multiple level entry and exit that we are trying to ensure, number one, because colleges are again affiliated to different universities. There are certain autonomous colleges also, so they have their own liberty, but most of the colleges, they are governed by rules and regulations of respective universities. They are affiliated to universities. Again, at the university level, they are having certain bodies through which they are working to introduce this NEP. And the prominent one, possibly, and then you have faculty council, you have PG Board of Studies, you have UG Board of Studies, and but they are again connected with different stakeholders in the process. Things are gradually taking shape, and somewhere it is better shaped, somewhere it is we are struggling a bit, and that's quite natural. Now, the first thing that I would like to point out that what are the basic 8 pillars of new education policy. Certainly, all of you are possibly aware of that, and many of you are having more knowledge, more first-hand experiences on NEP in comparison to me. In spite of that, just for the sake of argument, of sake of deliberations, I would like to point out those basic 8 pillars of the NEP, which is having multiple ramification, implication. So for the not only higher education institutes are concerned, it is also linked from pre-primary to the tertiary level. So pre-primary concept was not there, that is going to be introduced. So I'm not going to get into the details of the school, which is not our domain at all. So we will try to stick to the higher education institute. Now, what are those 8 parameters, which is precisely very important? The parameters, maybe you can, the chronology or the sequencing of the parameters, that's absolutely your freedom. The way you will put it, it can be put it in that way. So therefore, the first parameter, say for example, the 8 parameters I will try to point out. The first one is the academic leadership, governance and management. The second is the holistic and multidisciplinary education. The third is higher education and society. Fourth, Indian knowledge system. Fifth, information and communication technology. Sixth, research and development. The seventh is skill development. And 8 is student diversity and inclusive education. So if I just go on the reverse order, just to repeat it, student diversity and inclusive education, skill development, research and development, information and communication technology, Indian knowledge system, higher education and society, holistic and multidisciplinary education, academic leadership, governance and management. If you closely follow the progression of our institutions, maybe for last 2 decades or more than 2 decades, I say, most of these basic pillars were always there. There's no doubt about that. Now the question is that if these basic parameters are overtly or covertly is there, then what is the requirement of new education policy for the government to introduce? Possibly 2-3 terms which was not so well discussed, or rather well interrogated at the higher education institution level, that is holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system and skill development. These are the 3 issues precisely we find relatively new, or maybe are new incorporations in the new education policy. But the rest of the things, be it academic leadership, governance and management, it is there. Higher education and society, it's beyond doubt, it's always be the case. Information and communication technology, we have a huge trajectory we can draw. Now, say for example, we started when our career advancement process being evaluated, when the NAC evaluation was taking place, maybe 15-20 years. So that time, maybe having a PowerPoint presentations in your class in a CD format, or maybe the library, some kind of automation in the library, and use of projector to show your PowerPoint. Possibly that was the very early stage of ICT. If we correctly recall, all of us, we can recall it. And that too also, it was not plenty. Maybe 2-3 classrooms in a college, we used to have this kind of facilities. And most of the departments are equipped with maybe 2-3-4 computers. Department was distributed, and based on that we are working. That was possibly the first and ICT intervention, we can say. And prior to that, if you can, you have a projector, table projector, and there you used to use some kind of transparent sheet through which you used to make presentation even in seminar. And the present era, if you just today you look at around at your institutions, at your classrooms, at your entire teaching learning process, is a kind of a revolution and huge evolution that took place. That is beyond doubt. Now, the question that needs to be answered at the first, that what is the requirement of new education policy 2020? I understand these 8 pillars, and if we follow the previous NAC evaluation accreditation process, now it's gradually, the accreditation process is also changing. we are getting into a binary mode of accreditation, so it's the 0 and 1, possibly the institutions which will be 0 come within a year time or so, then they would be considered as a laggard institution, and the institutions which are getting 1 in binary system, they will again reevaluate it. And based on that, as a research-driven undergraduate system and research-driven university, that's also become a point of discussion and point of highlight. So therefore, a paradigm shift is gradually taking place. And third, an important issue which is becoming very pertinent and important, and that is the multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity. Now, maybe each of the issues would be handled by a esteemed resource person. I will try to give you certain kind of backdrop and try to integrate these issues. Now, if you follow the previous evaluation process or the process that we follow to date of NAAC evaluation, why I am bringing that, this is because important, these are having some leakages. Now, we know that 70% will automatically be evaluated through your AQAR and SSR, and 30% would be through the peer team will visit, and rest of the 30% that we are last 3-4 years we are undergoing through this particular system of accreditations or evaluations. Along with that, we have National Institutional Ranking Framework, and gradually this National Institute Ranking Framework as well as the NAAC evaluation is all in, and the AICT is there, and then for the apex body of all the technical institute are there. Now, as a new education policy will take proper shape, would be a single window system would be created. That means all evaluating or accreditation agencies will be merged. Similarly, presently we have UGC, we have AICT, then we have multiple like we have NHERC, we have HEGC, we have GEC, we have NSQF. So there's a whole of institutions are there to they generally work as a policy making body and also as the monitoring body. And to add further to this, that NAAC NBA ranking framework, NIRF, world-class universities ranking, and lifelong learning. These also become part of the institutional development plan. That means institutional development plan, if you follow the NEP more closely, then what's are coming? A quality framework, academic standard setting, accreditation by NAAC, NBA ranking framework, NIRF and world-class universities, lifelong learning. Now, every accreditations of these bodies having their own connotations and implications, but they are again integrated. Why they are integrated? I'll come to those points little later. Then, if you look at the institutional framework of the universities, then it is coming the organizational design, type of HEI. There is UGC is there, AICT is there, and related national and state level institutes are there. And if it is the management part, then principle of management, planning, human, infrastructural, technological, financial management, research project management, those are become part of the Higher Education Institute. I am again reiterating it, that if you talk from the management point of view, then principle of management, it's the management planning, and within this management planning, what are the attributes are coming? Human, infrastructure, within the infrastructure, physical infrastructure, technology, finance, financial management, then managing the research projects and management of the project. And the NEP is asking us, or rather giving us a guidance to follow 5W approach. Now, what are the who, what, where, and why? How and how much? Now, these questions are for any statement to qualify. For that matter, if we make any logical statement, this logical statement generally we qualify with who, what, where, and why, how, and how much. So therefore, these attributes are always there for any kind of statement. So it is there also. That means if I have to validate something, if you have to invalidate something, then these questions or these words will always will act as a prefix. Now, that was what we told. The first told that there are 8 parameters on which NEP is based on. The first part that I told, that is academic leadership governance, holistic and multidisciplinary education, higher education and society, Indian knowledge system, which is also new to us, a new introduction rather we can say, information and communication technology, which remain part of our system for last 3 decades, not less than that, not more than that, not less than that if I say. Research and development is always part of any institutions. Skill development, this is also a new intervention we can say at the Higher Education Institute, and student diversity and inclusive education is always there. And then I came to the points is institutional framework of the universities or higher education institute. It is the organizational design, type of HEI. Now you can put yourself according to the type of HEI you are. Then there are certain regulating bodies like UGC, ICT, and related national and state level institutions. Then I pointed out about the institutional development plan, which we call short-term plan, medium-term plan, and long-term plan. Now, within that, what are the major attributes? The major attributes, the quality framework, academic standard setting, accreditations by NAAC, NBA ranking framework, NIRF, and world ranking, I can say, and lifelong learning, which is also an important attribute of this new education policy, because open distance learning and massive, which is called MOOC, massive open massive open education system, that is also there, MOOCs, and Moodles is also there. And then in terms of governance, I told that there are HCI, NHERC, NSC, HEGC, GC, you can just click and you can get this information. Then you have, within the governance setup, there are 3 basic parameters there. One is economic, another is political, another is social, and the last one is administration. That means economic, political, social, administration. Why I am pointing this, uttering these words, I just come to those points. It's my responsibility. Because the whole system of governance, if we talk about, then it is autonomy with accountability. That is the ultimate goal. So therefore, e-governance and environmental and social governance, that's gaining importance. That means autonomy with accountability, that is the ultimate goal. And in this autonomy and accountability, what are the attributes have been put? E-governance and environment and social governance. And then coming the management part. Now in the management part, I told that basic principle of management would be followed. And how to plan how to use your infrastructure, how to use your human resources, how to use your technology, how to make your financial management, how to take care of your research projects or your quest for research and integration of the research. Now, these are the attributes is basically related to the different parameters or different aspects of so-called academic leadership, governance, and management, the point I first raised. And if you follow the criteria of NAAC, that is the curricular aspect, you can link your curricular aspect with new education policy, because in new education policy, from the curricular aspect, holistic and multidisciplinary education is getting into your curricular aspect. Whatever be there, already certain laid down parameters are there on which all the institution worked on. And there are certain ways to handle those issues. We know, I'm not going to reiterate that. Then in next coming teaching, learning and evaluation. Now, if you talk about the teaching, learning and evaluation, then this teaching, learning, evaluation is closely linked with the higher education and society. It is getting closely linked with Indian knowledge system. It is getting closely linked with information and communication technology. It is also getting linked with the research and development. And this is further going to